Girl, you taught me how to hurt real bad and cry myself to sleep. Show me how this...
RoboCop is an absolutely beautiful film. It is, in my opinion, one of the most perfect films ever made, because you can't exactly lump it into one category or genre, because it's very funny, it's very dramatic and well written, and it's very action-packed. It all rolls up into this one nice, grand package of film. And I love RoboCop in general. There are aspects of it that suck, sure. The 90s live-action TV show wasn't all that great. Prime Directives was absolutely awful. And the reboot looks downright disgraceful. I tolerated RoboCop 3. But RoboCop 2 is fairly underrated, I think. Not as many people give that movie a chance as much as they should. I think many people forget how good RoboCop 2 was because it's so overshadowed by the first film. Now, for those that need a refreshing of the original, the original ends with Alex Murphy basically becoming sort of human again. Like, he comes full circle. He starts the movie off where he's killed, he's turned into a machine, they attempt to wipe his memory, and then he basically regains the knowledge of who he once was by calling himself Murphy at the end. I was always sort of under the impression that they completely dropped this in the second film, as if he was just RoboCop again, which I found really, really strange, and it made me ignore the movie for a long time. I had only rediscovered it when I was maybe 18 or 19 years of age, and when I rewatched it, I realized that they still actually had him holding on to his humanity, but it was more subtle, because there were these lawsuits that he was having with his wife, who still had this belief that her husband was alive, and he had to keep that from her. And there are these subtle lines that I didn't notice when I was a child. Like when they're patrolling that arcade where all the drugs, the nuke, is being sold, and his partner, Ann Lewis, says, "Good eyes, Murphy." And he says in a very cynical tone, "Good as money can buy." Which is excellent. The movie, much like how the first film is a discovery of his humanity, the second one shows almost a cynical attitude, because he can't really do anything with his humanity. There's no way that he can be the man that he once was for his wife. Even though he knows he's Alex Murphy, even though he knows he has his mind and his face, he can no longer be that man. He has to embrace his robotic side as well. He has to embrace the machine part of him. He has to be RoboCop. He has a new life. Even though he may still be Murphy, he's not the Murphy he once was. And that's tragic in a really big way. And it makes RoboCop 2 just as solid a film as the original RoboCop. Now, maybe it's not quite as amazing, but it does have many of the same elements. It probably has more goofy humor than the first one does. But just the idea that he needs to contain himself, that he needs to pretend that he's a machine around certain people, is, it's great. It's really well written stuff, and I feel bad that I practically ignored it for so many years, and then I had to rediscover it. Maybe you'll rediscover RoboCop 2 as well, and I hope you do, because it's an excellent sequel. It's not a Terminator 2 sequel, but it's just as good as its predecessor. If only RoboCop 3 were the same, and if only they could actually deliver a new, solid entry in the RoboCop franchise, because unfortunately they kept tanking after RoboCop 2. And this recent reboot with Joel Kinnaman, or whatever that meth head looking motherfucker's name is, it's depressing to look at.